we move on to what we added under old unfinished business. We have last week, or 2 weeks ago, reaffirmed the Criminal Justice Coordinating Committee. And there will be some openings for citizens on that committee. And so we would need an ad hoc to do the interviews for that. Usually 3 commissioners. Anybody? I would say Dan should be on it because you're actually on the CJCC.
I'm already pointing to that?
Yes, you're the commissioner who was appointed to that originally, if you would still like to be.
Okay, yeah.
Yes, okay. So will you be on the ad hoc?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Madam
Sonny?
Chairman, I would like to volunteer in that I think it's going to be important that we coordinate between the ad hoc jail committee and the Justice Committee. I think that coordination is going to be critical.
Okay.
We had a little bit of a discussion with that last night, which we'll talk about here in a minute when we get to my report from last night's meeting.
Okay. Who else? Anybody else like to do that? You gonna do that, Ron? Okay, thank you. All right. If Chris Kramer's listening, there's your 3, Dan, Sonny, and Ron. Okay, and she will be in touch with you to coordinate that. Thank you very much for volunteering. Okay, now is our chance for second public comment. Anybody out there have anything to say? No? Okay, we'll pass on that. Commissioner Department reports. Sonny?
Well, last night we held the first organizational meeting of the Ad hoc Jail Committee, as was directed last month by the chairman. Commissioner Mayer, Captain Ritter, and myself were appointed by the chairman to sit on this committee. I also, for the purpose of last night's meeting, invited Judge Power and the Sheriff Bensley to participate. We also had interaction. We kind of did it, whether it was right, wrong, or indifferent, but for the purpose for last night, I just thought we should do it kind of as a roundtable discussion. And we had participants from community mental health were there and contributed a great deal. We had a gentleman who was there who had a bit of a specific agenda, I guess, for lack of a better term, in that he's involved in one of the lawsuits against Grand Traverse County in regard to one of the suicides in the jail. So we tried to, we tried to hear him out, but at the same time, that wasn't the purpose of our meeting last night. We wanted to talk about, first we acknowledged the deficiency that we have in the mental health issues in the jail, and we came up with trying to come up with ideas of how to make that better. As a result, Captain Ritter and I have been in contact with CMH, CCS, our current medical provider, and Dr. Conlon, who was our contract psychologist in the jail and now is working as a contractor under CCS's contract, about coming to us and trying to provide us with a myriad, if you will, of options that we can best look at. All of those options are going to come with a price tag. We can get into, what that is, but at least right now it's trying to bring people together and talk about what options we have. We have the enabling documents, which you've all heard me talk about for a long, long time, that specifically says CMH, through the creation of CMH, they are responsible for mental health services within the correctional facility of Grand Traverse County Jail. It's cut and dried, that's what it says. The problem becomes it doesn't specify about a quantity of services that are provided.
Sonny, is that exclusive?
What's that?
Is that an exclusive?
No. No.
I mean, you're saying that CMH provides the services. Does that prohibit, preclude,
No.
forestall us
No, it
getting
doesn't,
help
because
from
that's-
any other source?
When we were having trouble a number of years ago, and what we're talking about, probably Nate and Todd can probably remember better than I will, about 5 years ago, we weren't feeling we were getting enough service. We went out and we contracted with Dr. Conlon and her group to come in and help provide additional services in jail. We in turn paid that contract. I remember it was about $75,000 that year, if my memory is correct. And then at the end of the year, I tried to get us to cut that $75,000
remember
off the
that.
CMH payment.
That didn't work, did it?
That didn't work out so well, but it's still, that being said, the enabling document specifically says they will provide mental health services in our jail. There's no quantification with that. We have a probably 1980s vintage opinion from Attorney General Mike Cox that says mental health services in county jails are the responsibility of the county. So there's a contradiction there. But, my biggest point and the complaint that I've had for a long time, when Grand Traverse County entered into the enabling agreement with CMH to create that entity, we were receiving 2 people 40 hours a week, 80 hours a week's worth of service when we signed into that contract. We are now receiving 8 to 10 hours of service. Who would have assumed that when we entered into that agreement, it says that they're going to provide the service, that our services would be cut from 80 hours a week that we're getting at the time the document was signed to 8 to 10 hours of service today. And I think Carl was there last night, and I think he understands the point that, maybe we need more service in the jail. There's no question the mental health services in the jail are deficient. I'm not pointing blame at anyone. We can't expect our corrections officers and our staff to be able to adequately evaluate all of these people on a regular basis. We have a process by which, a patient or an inmate can request an assessment. We file that assessment. There's a gap between filing that assessment and when that assessment's actually done. And there's a 2-piece gap, because first is that patient already, or that inmate already a patient of community mental health? If they're already a patient, then the assessment happens and the treatment happens real easy. If that person is not a client of community mental health, then it's another whole thing to try to get them to become a client before CMH will see that. Now, that being said, I do want to recognize that CMH has been very good with us about what we're deeming emergent services. They are good with that part. But we've just got a gap here in trying to take care of people, and I'm not sure what the best answer to that is. We're hoping we're going to see some real proposals at our meeting on May 15th from these 3 entities. We specifically went to them because those are people that we are well aware of, and they are aware of our facility. Our facility, just because of the nature of the facility, causes limitations of how services can be provided.
So that's the next jail ad hoc committee meeting for the public?
Next jail ad hoc meeting will be on May 15th.
At
and
5:30?
It will be in the chambers. Mm-hmm. It'll be in chambers so as that we can maybe control public comment a little better and have a little bit more structure to it. Right, wrong, or indifferent, I felt last night's meeting was probably better handled as kind of a roundtable discussion, and I think that went very well. The other piece that we did last night, at my request, Captain Ritter contacted the National Institute of Corrections and asked them for a boilerplate RFP for a jail consultant. He got that, and Todd's worked on it some, and I'm working on it a little bit. We don't need to recreate the wheel. We've already done many of the pieces that would normally be done as far as, assessments and trying to project what your needs are over a number of years. Much of that's been done. The 2004 Blue Ribbon Committee, by 5 different methods, came out that we needed a minimum of 250 to 300 beds by 2020. We are now April of 2018, and we still have 168 beds on an ideal day, 162 on a normal day. So, we've already done what the assessment. There was another needs assessment done in 2014, I believe, which probably needs to be looked at again and update whether, our number is today 300 or if it's 320. But at least we've already done a lot of that. We don't have to spend a year's worth of research to that. My personal opinion is the property on Lafreniere was specifically purchased to centralize county services, and on that list of things was the Grand Traverse County Jail and Sheriff's Department. When you look at their format, they usually allow 6 to 8 months for siting the jail. I think we can expedite that because we already bought the property where the jail goes. Mm-hmm. So we're working on it. The first piece and the most important piece is to try to evaluate and improve the mental health services in our jail. And we need to give these 3 providers at least an opportunity to bring us proposals of how that happens and how we may be able to do it better.
Okay. Dan, did you have a comment?
Well, just a technical question. Dr. Is it Conley?
Conlon.
Psychologist or psychiatrist? Can she prescribe medicine?
Yes.
Yes, she can.
Psychiatrist, okay.
Yes,
Just
she's a
wanted to know.
psychiatrist.
I think that's important.
And she is licensed in 57 different categories,
Gotcha.
and
Yeah.
she actually stopped in my office the other day for about an hour and a half, and we talked about
called me the other day, too.
lot of different
Yes.
options, including, possibly even looking at, her and her team of nurse practitioners
Yeah.
may be able to widen the scope of services that they provide to us. Obviously it comes with a price, but the thing is, if we can figure out ways to use nurse practitioners and some of those things instead of contracting a psychiatrist to be in the jail, the price tag is going to get better. We're going to have more services available to more people.
Cheryl?
Nate, you were there,
Oh, I'm
and Todd
sorry.
was there. Do either one of you want to add anything to that, or did I cover most of it?
I think you covered.
Cheryl?
Thank you.
I was just going to say, Sunny, I hope that there'll be some exploration of utilizing volunteers. And we have a community that is rich with retired people with very high skill sets. And a lot of retired people are looking for an opportunity to still be involved and to be of service. And it may be that this would be an opportunity to, tap into some of those people. And
I have a
I hate to not look at it, especially when we're talking the kind of numbers we're talking.
I have a long list of people who have contacted me about being involved in the ad hoc committee. I'm not completely sure at what level we want to do that. We have the before, during, and after incarceration folks that have been here. They've contacted us, as several others have. I think I would still like to keep the ad hoc committee fairly small, whether or not.
Oh, no, I'm talking about actual people who would go into the
whether or
jail.
not, I don't want to get to a point that we had a blue ribbon jail committee that was 21 people. It was so cumbersome to try to get through it. And, but I do believe that by inviting these people to come in and participate in the discussion, I think we're going to get there.
Captain Ritter, do you have something?
Yeah, just to answer Ms. Paulette's question. We are bringing in, before, during, and after incarceration groups to do some specific programming that is of a mental health nature. They just went through, the people that are going to be providing the program just went through our volunteer background and training the other day. So we were going through the vetting process to get them qualified to come in. And we're evaluating what programming we have now. Yeah, the problem with adding programming is every program we add is more staff intensive. So we're trying to reevaluate what we can kind of lose right now and add that's going to be more beneficial for the need we have right now with the inmates. So.
Well, I think that, excuse me, I think that the, looking at a new facility, figuring out a way to have spaces that are workable, because when you have people who are incarcerated for a long period of time, from my perspective, working with abused and neglected kids and their families, a lot of these parents are incarcerated during the course of the time that they're supposed to be working a plan to get their kids back. They can't get any services in jail because there's no place within the jail for them to get services.
Yep.
So we really need to be thinking, very broadly about
Well,
what
one of the
makes it
comments
work.
that I made last night is when we talk about a physical structure for the jail, the cell space is such a small
That's the
piece of
easy
what we
part.
need to
That
do.
is.
Yeah.
The 300 beds that we need as far as as for the incarceration of employees, but we had
Employees?
prisoners.
Wow.
But let us not forget our employees spend more time there than anyone else.
I think that's right.
And
You were just a little ahead of
and the
yourself.
constraints that we have on our staff and our facilities are contributing are contributed to by the facility that we have. But there's all the other stuff, all of the prisoner laundries, the kitchens, the classrooms. We used to do the whole high school
GED.
equivalency type thing,
GED
GED
course.
programs. We simply do not have staffing and facility to do that anymore.
Work
So-
release.
Well, work release got to a point that we had 5 prisoners in a 26-bed facility that was able to do it, and we were committing an officer there every day. So, that kind of had to go away too.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for your report. That's
Yep,
good.
thank you.
Nate, did you want to add?
Nope, good, thank you.